is Mrs. Lane, and I am going to try to talk you through the Enigmas project on the Texas Performance Standards Project. I know we have at least one fourth grader that's interested in doing this one. So, first of all, you have to think about what is an enigma. And I don't really want to tell you, I want you to look that up. But once you understand what an enigma is, it will help you kind of understand what this project is going to be. And it says that you're going to investigate a naturally occurring enigma, an unsolved mystery. Each student will have an opportunity to explore in depth an enigma and hypothesize possible solutions. Okay, it already tells you if you're using your context clues, an enigma is an unsolved mystery. So you're going to pick a mystery in the world and then research it, and then you're going to kind of come up with your reason why you think that enigma exists. So I'm going to scroll down here because you can read these goals. I'm going to actually walk you through. The first part is you're going to use the Marfa lights as an example to help you kind of introduce what enigmas are and how different people, scientists and different people, explain them in different ways. So there's an attachment, and where you find the attachments, I'm going to scroll back up, is at the top of this thing. You can download the worksheet if you want, or you can just look at it and use a sheet of paper. But they want you to sort of read these questions and think about them. How do the different scientists explain the Marfa lights? How are the viewpoints the same or different? How can ideas from across the disciplines? When they talk about disciplines, they're referring to subjects. Like if you're a mathematician, you might explain it in a different way than an artist would, or an astronomer, or a poet, right? What dilemmas or controversies are involved? Lots of times with enigmas, there are people have very different opinions about them. So that you're going to kind of go through those. Divide the students into groups. Are we going to do that? No. We don't have groups to divide into unless you want to get your mom or dad to work with you. And then there's a handout with 8 enigmas on them. And those are the ones that you have to choose from to do your research on. So I will go up here and I will show you attachment 2. Here are the different enigmas that you could possibly study. The pyramids, the Bermuda Triangle, the Lost Colony, Atlantis, Stonehenge, the Loch Ness Monster, or the Nazca Lines. Now I'm going to go back to enigmas. Hope this isn't making you dizzy. And it says, in small groups, students will research and discuss the following. What is the meaning of the word enigma? What is still not understood about the enigma? And in what ways is the information incomplete or lacking? So basically, you're picking an enigma to kind of become the expert on, and then you share out with the class. That's how we would have done it in school. Clearly, you don't need to do that. So when you get to number 2, just review the handout and pick which enigma you think you want to research. Here's an enigma web quest that you could do just for fun. I may do it later. And these are different books, but you may not have access to those. But you might be able to get on Mayan and read about certain enigmas there. Then we move into part 2 or phase 2 of this project. And this is where you're doing the independent research. So select a topic. Each student will choose an enigma to investigate. You may pick one from attachment 2, or you may choose another enigma. Ask guiding questions. On my page of the Google site that I created for the AIM kids, I posted a video about how to write good research questions. I will put it on our Google Classroom so that you can watch that, because I don't want to. Uh, if let's just say you pick the Bermuda Triangle, a good guiding question is not, where is the Bermuda Triangle located? I mean, we do need to know where it's located, but we need, I don't want questions that you can just quickly Google the answer to. So you write down your questions, and then you develop a hypothesis. The student should create his or her own theory of the cause and identify a way to test your theory. So let's say you pick the Loch Ness Monster, and maybe you hypothesize that it's just an oversized fish. How are ways that you think you could test that theory? Um, then you design a research proposal, and you're going to use attachment 4 for that. And you are going to carry out a scientific process where you identify what you're going to study, you list your guiding questions, you describe your hypothesis, and then you try to come up with a way to test your hypothesis. Are we actually going to be able to really test it? Of course not. Um, but it does need to be a feasible experimental design. It says testing the hypothesis. Each student will design and carry out an experiment or study based on the concept related to the enigma. So there are two more attachments that go with this: the scientific process and experiment organizer. And I'll try to find a way to link those into the Google Classroom. But if the student does not know how to answer a question, they write it down and researches an answer at the end of the hypothesis hunch. Ooh, I'm going to have to study this part. You're not going to be near this part soon, though, because you've got all the other stuff that we need to do. Revising the hypothesis based on the experiment. So it's just like, sort of like science fair. So when you pose your question or your hypothesis, and then you test it, and then you either revise what you thought originally or you confirm. And then, so you have two parts on phase 2. Sorry, I'm scrolling back up. There's the research part, and you end up with like a written report, or there are a bunch of different ways. You can a Google slideshow, or you could even do a video of yourself explaining. But then you also are going to come up with a product, and it says you're going to create a board game or a learning center based on your enigma. The game should include fair rules and accurate information. Um, that's going to take a lot of creativity. I don't have an idea yet of what that could actually look like, but it might be fun. At grade level appropriate interactive learning. So it's one of the two. You can either do a learning center. That one would not be hard. I can imagine having like a learning station set up with books and a little model of the enigma that you studied, and some activities that people could do to test out. Or the board game, if you want to do that. Either one. You don't have to do both. And then technically we would have presented in class, or to other classes. So I do want us to work on our presentation skills. So when we get to the end, I can give you more information about that. So these are the things that submissions means. This is what you would turn in. Excuse me, your cover sheet, your proposal, attachment 4, your evidence of research, attachment 6, and attachment 7 or 8. Don't worry about the videotape or audio tape of the presentation right now. And if you have internet access, you should be able to get to all these different attachments. I'll show you them again. So here are the different enigmas you could study. Here is the different branches of science that study different things. Here's your proposal. The enigma I chose to study is, and I think I learned a way where I can make a copy of this and insert text boxes, and you can type directly onto these if you want. Or you can download and print them. It's up to you. And then here's how the scientific process works. So this one's going to walk you through like what you're going to be doing with your hypothesis about your enigma. And then here's the problem. That's like where you put what the enigma is and the problem it causes. Here's what you think, why it happens, and these are the materials you're going to use to test. When you get to this part, I will help you more. Right now, I'm just explaining the overview of it. Um, what would you change? What did you learn? And then 7, this is if you want to do the board game. And 8 is if you want to do the learning center. And this cover sheet tells you almost everything that you need. If you pick Enigmas, this is a really well, I think, organized project on the website that gives you lots of information. So I know that was a lot in 11 minutes. I'm going to summarize and say, start off now by just exploring the Marfa lights and trying to answer these questions, trying to answer what an enigma is, and start thinking about which enigma you want to study the most. And there's no deadline for this, so please understand that. First of all, you don't have to do this, but if you feel like you want a little bit more and you want to be creative, this is a great place to start. And if you have any questions, just post them in our Google Classroom or send me messages on Class Dojo or my email even, and we will work through this together. Thanks a lot, guys. I miss you. Bye.